This is an Instagram post from the Washington Examiner. They caption it, "A Tale of Two CNNs Before and After the Trump Rally in the Bronx." And the list is long, right? The Bronx Bodega, the rally in Wildwood, New Jersey. And these people just double down and say, oh, they're clowns, they're stupid, they're not really, they're morons or whatever. And it's like, we quite literally all see it. And he brought Chef G on stage, which I guess he's not a household name, but he's pretty big in New York. And a little bit more on that later. But you think these people would maybe counteract this energy with some rallies of their own? But they obviously cannot because nobody likes them. Either way, my name is Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'm absolutely begging you.
I'm begging you, please. Come on, please.
Because the algorithm is a beast, and it would help me a lot if you engage with the content. It will cost you nothing. But if you want it to help me even more and spend some money, go ahead and buy my book, New York City 2020. But here is the contrast of only a couple hours of, CNN reporting on Trump rally in the Bronx.
New York will never, ever support Donald Trump for president. We know him better than anyone, and that means we understand what he's all about is just for himself.
Wait. Yeah, how could you possibly think about supporting Donald Trump when you should support me, Governor Kickback Kathy? I'm an awful who thinks black people are stupid, and I'm going to help you.
This state will go solidly behind Joe Biden for president as it...
That kind of sounds like a threat, okay? That's like Nasty the Crypt Keeper Pelosi, right? When they sort of say the quiet parts out loud, just like AOC did when she just couldn't handle it. She like short-circuited on the news and said, Donald Trump's stuck in New York because we brought these charges against him because he stepped out on his wife and he needs to raise money.
This guy is stuck in court. And let's be very clear about the fact that he is stuck in court because over hush money payments in order to quiet the story about him having sex with Stormy Daniels in the lead up to the in the lead up to the election. And I think that because he is stuck on so many charges around fraud and these payments, he is stuck in a pretty tight radius of where he can go. New York City's blue. Brooklyn is blue, Queens is blue, the Bronx is blue, and he's got nowhere to go. And so he's decided to come to the South Bronx. He's broke. He needs to pay these legal funds and, bussing people in order to get those donations so that he can funnel them to his legal fees is kind of his business right now.
And you're like, wait, so you're telling me it's a crime? Now, don't get me wrong. I guess if I had a choice, I wouldn't pick somebody who stepped out on their wife. But are you kidding me, bro? Like, Slick Willie Clinton, Bo Jiden showering with his daughter, allegedly, convincing kids to cut their junk off. So, a billionaire stepping out on his wife is the least of their problems. But they're constantly saying the quiet part out loud.
It has in the past. So he wants to spend his time doing these made-up fake rallies and pretending their support here.
Yeah, made-up fake rallies? Why don't you try one? Why don't you have a rally in Brooklyn or Manhattan or Queens? Definitely not Staten Island. You are the governor, right? That is your home turf. So you should probably be able to prove that it's fake and phony and not have thousands of people shooting rap videos outside the speech.
Yes.
What was the crowd like and what kind of response did he get?
And here, of course, is the contradiction or the comparison. So, it's not real. It's fake and phony. Go ahead and be my guest. And she's like, yeah, there's a lot of support here, and most of them are local. And you'll also notice that even as a CNN reporter, she doesn't have the CNN mic flag. All right, I wonder why.
Well, certainly a bigger crowd than I think Democrats would like to see, particularly given this is one of the bluest counties in the entire country. Now, one of the things that was interesting to me is that the Trump campaign said that they were going to micro-target to get people from the community to come to this rally.
So this is one of the bluest counties, and he has said this for months that he was thinking about doing a rally in New York or in the Bronx, maybe Madison Square Garden. But this is basically the top of the ladder. Like, does it get, I guess it really doesn't get any more blue. Maybe Oregon or San Francisco. Like, where else do you go? And I don't know, maybe he could. If he could pull it off in the Bronx, even though New Yorkers, Bronxites are far more down to earth than San Franciscans or Los Angelinos, I think, in my humble opinion. I don't know, maybe they're waking up too, because it's happening everywhere, and that's why they're getting so angry. And I can't for the life of me figure out why they wouldn't just say, all right, you know what, we kind of screwed that. Well, because it's completely evil. That's why. But they would never just say, okay, maybe we went a little bit too hard on that, or we didn't do enough here, we did too much there, and we're going to fix it and come up with a plan. But they're not going to do that. They're just going to say, Donald Trump he's mean, he's not going to get any support, he's a racist. And we will also see that a large portion of the people that they're trying to win over with their race baiting is just not working. And for the record, do you think Chef G and his followers, do you think Sexy Red and her followers, do you think any of those people, those like Gen Z kids or maybe even Gen Alpha kids, are sitting down and watching the news and saying, oh yeah, it's all racism? No, bro, you got to come up with a new plan. But I guess they're genuinely this stupid and they're years behind the ball. I truly do not know.
I wasn't sure what to expect. I've gone to a lot of these rallies across the country, and there are often people who travel hundreds of miles to see Donald Trump, and they're not necessarily part of the community. However, one of the things that I found was that there were a lot of people here that were actually...
Oh, yeah. The hoax, it has been that, oh, yeah, these people came in from... Wait, they went to the Bronx from, what, other northeastern states that are supposed to be deep blue? Like, or did they come from Texas? Right? Did they come from Wyoming or Kansas and bust people to the Bronx to show you? I mean, they have a guilty conscience and everything they do is fake, so they think that what he's doing is fake, but it just doesn't seem to be the case. And AOC also, this is a little bit of a side note, but AOC also said on one news hit that we just need to be safe, because it's like, lady, this was a positive event. People of all colors, all stripes, all walks of life, just hanging out and waving little American flags and chanting USA. And AOC was, well, you need to be safe. How? Well, but you don't need to be safe in New York, right? Like, I mean, you might get pushed onto the tracks. You might get slashed in the face. Your car might get broken into. Stores all over the place are getting broken into. But just be safe, because there are going to be some Trump supporters at the park in the Bronx. Okay, that aside, hugely viral news, of course, is that Trump brought out Chef G and Sleepy Hollow, which I don't believe are household names. It's probably a bunch of kids 25 and less that know his music. He did have a couple good songs. I realize that, and professional is probably not a word you use when you're talking about Chef G, but, you know, he's made some good songs that I actually enjoyed several years back. But the thing about this kid is that he's not. This is how widespread this message is going. This is how widespread that people are done with the overreaching tyranny of the Democratic Party. Okay, so Chef G is a well-known allegedly gang member, gang leader. I don't even know. I believe he's made a lot of money. Look, and I'm not really blaming him. He's 25 years old now. He's already done time. He's been doing terrible things for probably some years, but that's all he knew. I'm not saying it's right, but you could do a deep dive. I did a deep dive into Chef G when I first learned about who he was a couple years back, but his father was a gangster. Do you think the son of a gangster is going to come out and like go get an accounting job? No, that's part of the problem, but that's a completely different story. My point here is I was actually listening to a couple songs, mixtapes from this guy years ago, not knowing that he was largely responsible for absolute chaos and gang warfare in Flatbush, Brooklyn, specifically the neighborhood that I lived in, right? And nobody will ever really understand this, but there was memorials, two on every block, basically, candles and balloons. There was car wrecks of cars speeding away from other cars, speeding away from cops, hitting things, destroying. I mean, it was absolute chaos, and this was 4 years ago. But the point is, this is how widespread it has become. You've got Amber Rose, who is famous for the slut walk, saying, well, I make all my money, or not, maybe not anymore, but back in the day, like I was a, stripper. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with the idea that there's men and there's women, and you're not going to put men into women's spaces, right? So, and she's done a little bit of research. Her reasoning makes sense for why she supported Trump, right? You have Sexy Red who said, I like Trump because he gave out free money. Okay, whatever. I'll take what I can get. But Amber Rose, Chef G, this is just proof that I think we have finally hit the wall, right? And this is not about, praising celebrities and like, this is great that this is about actual sanity and having people that are supposed to be, that the Democratic establishment is supposed to be talking directly to, saying, we don't want it anymore. And I don't know how they're going to get their message to them. They're going to pay off some weirdo influencers. You think Chef G and his fans are going to listen to Harry Sisson? What is actually happening? So as criminal and as weird and sexually deviant as Amber Rose is, they can see through the nonsense, right? And the left, the establishment, has nothing to bank on. If you had one argument to make, if you had one platform, then maybe it would be different. But these people who Kathy Hochul told us, this is exactly the type of person, for the record. Chef G, 25 years old, he is from Brooklyn, not the Bronx. But these are literally the people that they think are stone cold stupid, don't even know what a computer is. And he's like, I absolutely know what a computer is. And I've used it for most of my life and made myself famous from it by using the money and, product that I stole over the past couple of years to launch a music career. That's a little bit of a different story. My point here is he's not that stupid. Amber Rose is not that stupid. And they can have a difference of opinion, but either way, they don't want Bo Jiden. And here is an article from May 2023, drill rapper Chef G among 32 reputed gang members booked in major DA and NYPD takedown. So this was only a year ago, right? And I didn't realize, again, people won't truly understand how terrifying it was. I was going to work one day in Brooklyn, walking across the street from my apartment towards the subway, and hear gunshots ring out at like 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday, right? It was absolutely terrifying. And I don't know for sure. I even made a post on my Instagram that I thought, before looking into it at all, I literally just made a broad sweeping generalization that it's probably a gang territory war. I've just never seen anything like it. And turns out that was likely Chef G and his rivals. And I was still listening to the music and kind of enjoying it. So it's a little bit of a love-hate relationship, but it seems like he's turned the page, right? He was a young kid who came up with a dad who was in prison, and now he's got a whole bunch of gold on, and Trump says, I want those teeth. And it's kind of funny. And we're eliminating the nonsense, okay? And I can't hold Chef G to a standard. Like, what was he supposed to do? Right? He was supposed to go get a job at the bank. Whatever. Neither here nor there. The point is, and who contacted who? How did they get in touch? Trump's team DM'd Chef G, or Chef G DM'd him? How did that even happen? Right? Either way, prominent rapper Chef G not only drilled hip-hop lyrics, but also allegedly ran a major Brooklyn street gang that police busted up in a major operation announced Tuesday. Again, this is a year ago. According to Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez, the indictment accuses some 32 individuals of causing bullet-fueled mayhem throughout the borough, all under the ruthless command of famous drill rapper Michael Kyle Williams, also known as Chef G, as well as Tegan Chambers, better known as Sleepy Hollow, both of which were at Trump's recent Bronx rally. The indictment alleges that Chef G's crew were responsible for numerous shootings, including using stolen cars, drive-by crimes, targeting rival gang members from Folk Nation Gangster Disciple and ICG Babies. The drill rapper's music is so widespread that Gonzalez went as far as to say that if you have kids, Williams' music is most likely on their phones. What they may not realize is that away from the studio, prosecutors allege Williams demonstrated a brazen attitude as a criminal mastermind, going as far as to celebrate a mass shooting that left a rival dead with a lavish dinner. Gonzalez announced the indictment at his office on May 16th alongside Mayor Eric Adams. And look, here's the photos. I don't know. This might be worth looking into. I don't know exactly how he's not in jail right now. But you know what? At this particular point in time, I would take a murderous 25-year-old gang leader that literally terrorized my own neighborhood when I lived in Flatbush, Brooklyn, than Bo Jiden. It sounds crazy, but that's just where we are, right? The truth is oftentimes stranger than fiction, and there's more. This is from Double XL. Now, it says it's from February 2024, even though it had to have been updated because I believe Chef G is actually on this list. And here's what's funny is that 13 rappers who are still supporting Donald Trump. Still? Like, I'm confused because they're still... So we've lobbed everything at him. We're trying to drain his bank account. So Donald Trump stepped out on his wife, and you think a whole bunch of criminal gangsters, thugs, are gonna say, "Oh yeah, that's just really bad. We can't have that." Bro, these guys have been in and out of jail. I mean, I believe Sexy Red has been in and out of jail. Kodak Black has obviously been in and out of jail. Chef G has obviously been in and out of jail. I mean, the large majority of rappers have been to jail, except for Ye, who, for the record, of course, did this first way back in 2015. And he said, I don't really like Hillary Clinton. I think Donald Trump is a little bit better pick. And they screamed him out of the room. I mean, his career was over. You can't say that. Even though he was obviously right and it wasn't that extreme. But he's of course, ahead of the curve. Some of the biggest artists in hip hop are still supporting former President Donald Trump. And this is XXL. They are obviously part of the machine. Still, like we've thrown everything at him, but they still like him. Why? How could they possibly do that? Despite his ongoing legal battles. Yeah, so we've tried to take him down every possible chance we could, and they still like him. They're not listening to us. Ye, Fabio Foreign, 6ix9ine. Those are the classics. But here are rappers who are still supporting Donald Trump. And I just think that's completely backwards because these are people who have been told not to support Donald Trump and they're straying away from that. Not that they've been rock rib conservatives since 2015 and they're still on the Trump train. It's the exact opposite. They realize the corruption that the establishment is foisting on people and are going the opposite direction. But whatever, I guess this is a cog in the machine, black people publication. But Sexy Red, Chief Keef, again, another stone cold gangster out in Chicago who can see through the nonsense. And I'm sure a lot of people have problems with Chef G and Chief Keef. I mean, who wouldn't? These guys are absolute menaces to society, but they're smart enough to tell that Bo Jiden ain't the answer. And you think they would support him, right? I mean, go easy on crime. But they made their money in music, and hopefully they've put the thug life behind them. Here's Kodak Black, famously, right? Got pardoned by Big DJT and then did more crimes or whatever. I mean, I like Kodak. I like some of the songs. He's got some classics, but the kid kind of seems like a moron. And he's still not stupid enough to support the Democratic Party, but he's also from Florida, so that like kind of comes with the territory. Bandman Kevo, who famously got Trump tattooed on his leg, I believe, of the mugshot. Benny the Butcher, right? The list goes on. Lil Pump, or Lil Pimp, as Trump would call him. Jeezy, who I believe is from California. I also think he was heavy into graffiti. That's a completely different story, though. Waka Flocka Flame, who I believe notoriously said, "I don't like Trump" back in 2016, but now he's like, "Whoa, let's take this the other direction because we've gone too far." But the establishment won't do that. These rappers are even man enough and adult enough to say, "Yeah, I was wrong about that." Right? Let's go back the other way because this isn't working for us. But the establishment can never do that. Azealia Banks, Peasy, Money Man, and then of course Chef G and Sleepy Hollow. And this is obviously not an exhaustive list, right? You have Snoop Dogg, who notoriously hated Donald Trump, pointed a gun at an effigy of him. You have YG, who has also done a complete 180 because they are ready, willing, and able and less embarrassed about just changing their minds about something. But the establishment would absolutely never do that. And here's one more article from Newsweek. Meet the black artists flocking to Donald Trump. And this from November 2023. Oh yeah, the black people love Donald Trump. We have been screaming at them for many years now that he is a racist, but they do it anyways. It's absolutely disgusting. Saying people, Lil Wayne. I mean, the list goes on and on. And, everybody knows I'm a big Kanye West fan, but he quite literally did it first. Not to say he's the smartest person on the planet, but it wasn't that hard to see. right? For many years, from miles away, you could see that this weirdo establishment just wasn't going to do the work that the people wanted to see done.